Welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful week and you're ready for another gadget report. So let's talk gadgets. And we close this month of May talking about something that sometimes is considered a big elephant in the room of aviation industry, which is food on planes. Everyone talks about it, sometimes not even very nice comments, I must say. But is it always bad? Well, that's not my experience. And today we are going to talk about food on planes. And there is a few things to say, so stick around. Let's talk gadgets. Food on planes is without a doubt the big elephant in the room. Everybody talks about the leg room, everybody talks about the service, everybody talks about everything. About airlines, this airline is good, this airline is bad. But when it comes to food, I think everyone has a little bit of a disaster opinion. And I think sometimes it may not be, I think it may not be fair. So today I decided to talk about this because I think it's something that we need to talk about, and I would like to also know your opinion about this. And as I always do, share your opinions, put on the comments below, so we can always know about new adventures and new airlines and new experiences, of course. One of the things that is always said is that plain food is really bad, that doesn't have a taste, and this and that. I have explained that in a previous video as well, that one of the things, and scientists have already studied this, and one of the reasons that we may perceive plain food as really tasteless and bad is because altitude, the high altitude, alters our palate and the way we taste food. And so we may be tasting something that is not as bad, but because our palate is altered, we may taste it differently and it may not taste that good to us. And that's one of the reasons. I have actually watched once a documentary about this, and I found quite interesting, and it really makes sense because obviously it's not that everyone serves rubbish food, it's just that there's actually something that may be causing the issue. But having said that, I think that not all airlines serve rubbish food, even though I must admit that in recent years there was a decline on the quality of food in planes, and some airlines started to go a little bit like the low-cost airlines and not providing catering on short-haul flights and things like that, which I think if they saw this as a saving and as a cutting cost measure, I found that a way of putting off a lot of customers. Because if you are paying for a proper airline, for one of those full service airlines, you expect to have the full service. And if the airline is going to cut on that, they may suffer the consequences of clients or passengers just thinking, well, if I'm going to pay for this airline and the service they provide me with is the same thing as flying with a low-cost airline, then I might as well go and fly with a low-cost in the first place, because that's what I get, and I know that's what I get. So I think that was a bad measure, and a lot of airlines are trying to correct this. A lot of airlines are trying to come back with quality, which I think is great, because if they need to stand out, I think quality is one of the ways they can stand out. And if they go the path of cutting costs in things that are really important, such as the legroom that we spoke last week, or the services like food and other services that they should provide on the flights, it may cost them passengers that may just walk away and go to a different airline, because obviously if they are paying for a full service, they want that full service, period. So, but as I said, not all airlines are bad, and I had a few great experiences with airlines. It's no secret, my favorite airline of all is British Airways. I always talk about British Airways because for me they are really my favorite. I had amazing experiences with British Airways, and I used to fly regularly from Lisbon to Sydney, so plenty of hours of flying with them. And I must say that I always had a good experience. I've already mentioned the famous ham and cheese bread that they served on the morning flight from London Heathrow to Lisbon, which was delightful, and I still miss it. I'm salivating just thinking about it. That's how hooked on it I was. It was really good. I can think of, for example, the last trip that I made from Heathrow to Sydney. I was served for dinner in the first leg of the flight. I was served for dinner salmon, which was absolutely delicious. I must say it was delicious, and this was in 2006, and I cannot fault that dish. It was really good. I truly enjoyed it. I love salmon. When I saw that it was on the menu, I thought, oh well, this might be a bad idea because salmon, it's a little bit tricky, especially with cooking times and things like that. And I thought, oh well, maybe I'm gonna regret it, and it's gonna be my first bad experience with British Airways. And it wasn't. It was really good. The salmon was cooked perfectly. I really liked it, and it was yet another good experience in terms of food with British Airways. Overall, I always had a good experience. Of course, I'm not explaining or expecting, should I say, a gourmet menu like I would go to a la carte restaurant, because that's not what it is. And again, we must consider that we are on high altitude, and that altitude may also alter our palate and the way we taste the food. But I think British Airways, in every single flight I've done with them, served me very decent meals that I truly enjoy. And honestly, that bread, I was just hooked on it. Another few companies that I had good experiences with was KLM, which also had a very similar bread on their flight from Amsterdam to Lisbon for the breakfast, and I also really liked it, but this was 2003. I don't know if they still have those. And unfortunately, my experience with KLM was limited because they had that partnership with Malaysia Airlines, which I have already mentioned. It was the worst airline I've ever flown with. And TAP, the Portuguese airline, I flew with them twice, and I enjoyed the coffee. It was really nice, the coffee. It was one of the major Portuguese brands of coffee that I obviously know about, and it was really nice coffee that they served in TAP. And the food, they served me a sandwich that was really nice, and I truly enjoy flying with TAP as well. The bad experiences, yes, they are bad, and we must talk about them. As I said, Malaysia Airlines, which was horrible. The food was not good at all. The service was appalling. Airport in Kuala Lumpur was the most confusing one I've ever been, and I have already spoke about this in another video. So that was the low. I think was the worst airline I've ever flown with. Was actually Malaysian, and that one I really had a bad experience overall, and the food was no different. So I think the secret is just go with an open mind and think about that altitude may alter your palate, and just don't go with that mindset that it's going to be horrible. because you might be surprised. And as I said, with that salmon on British Airways, I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and it was. So you never know. And that's all for today. I hope you really enjoyed this conversation about food on planes. And you are ready to share your experiences. Just keep them coming, either good or bad, is always good to know. So when we fly, we might choose a certain airline because you recommended us to choose that because they have good service and they have good food and all those things that we so like. So make sure you share your comments, either a good experience or a bad experience, good food. Tell us about the good food and the bad one, of course. But tell us about the food on your trips. Which was the worst that you have ever experienced? Was it on Malaysia Airlines as well? And which was the best for you? Which airline would get your gold medal for food? Let us know in the comments. I think it's really nice to know this because we always look at the pricing, we always look at other things, and sometimes we complain about the food, and most of us do, and we know that, but no one just take a moment or two just to comment and say, oh, well, this airline provides horrible food, whilst this airline provides decent food, and I quite enjoyed it. So do that, share with us, and of course, put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of a new gadget report every week. And there will be a 2-week break again. I will be breaking from YouTube. I have a few other assignments to do, and these next 2 weeks I won't be recording your gadget report, but I'll be back in 2 weeks with more gadgets. Rest assured there will be plenty more gadgets for you. So have a good week, have a good 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.